Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Eileen, and this is a daily dose of medicine walk. And for those of you who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, this is Healing House Radio. So, uh, still raining, and when you live in the mountains, it's like either rain, cold, you know, overcast. But we do get some very sunny days, so I'm sure those will be coming. And the one thing for me is that I do get to spend time. I feel very fortunate that my home is one that really adds to that peace and calm. I'm surrounded by nature. And I know that's not something everybody has. So uh, if your isolation is getting to you, I'm sorry. And though it's challenging, do your best to find some ways to at least, even if it's just sitting out on your porch, or, if you have a backyard, or if you have a little back deck patio. I know in apartments it can be really challenging, and, people who live in small spaces, or if you're in with a bunch of other people, hang in there. This isn't going to last forever. We will get to the other side of this. And if you need to get out there and to vent or whatever, reach out, talk to people, talk to someone who you can be able to, get some of that processed and get it out of your own head. So today's question comes from Terry, and it has to do with, the times I've talked about, turn the empathy off, turn it down. And her question has to do with that. Once I figure out how to turn empathy off, how do I know when to turn it off? That's a great question, Terry. And the idea that, it is that sense of, and, this is also about learning how to do it. You can learn how to be able to turn it down or turn it off as you need to. And the other piece is that, well, when do you turn it down? And my answer is when it does not serve. There are lots of times when having empathy on is not helpful. It can be challenging, especially right now when people are definitely holding a lot of energy and emotion and a lot of intensity. So the idea of knowing when to turn it off is based on you. It's based on what your level of feeling is. If you're around people and you have it on sort of, at a low level just because of that sense of companionship, that's the one thing. Connecting empathically does provide a very deep level of connection, which is something that a lot of people aren't getting right now. So it can be comforting to have, even if you can't go up and hug someone or, or interact on a physical level, in that way, your friends, your family, and, maybe your neighbors, and you wish that you could, hello, Luna. Yesterday, Sam was sitting in Luna's spot, and so he's still on the couch, but he's chosen to be over here. But since he's not specifically in Luna's spot, she's willing to participate now. Quite the little diva. So when you have an opportunity to connect empathically, that is sort of like an energetic hug in a lot of cases. The question is, when is it not something that feels good? When does it not serve a purpose? And if it is just sending you spiraling, that would be a perfect indicator of a time that, okay, maybe we need to dial this back or shut it off for a little while. It doesn't mean that you're not being compassionate. It doesn't mean you're not able to be sympathetic. It just means that you are not investing, your energy in it. It is not something that needs your energy right now. Most people are fairly open about what they have to say or what they feel. You don't need empathy to see that people are scared. You don't need empathy to see that people are angry. You don't need empathy to see people are frustrated. So there really isn't a whole lot of need for empathy because it's mostly about finding a way to discover what is going on underneath the surface. Well, what's under the surface is at the surface. So if you have someone who, one time that it would apply would be is if you're comforting or counseling someone and you want to, kind of help them get over the hump of their fear to a point where they can take a breath and be able to, sort of process what they're going through from a slightly more objective way. And yes, empathy can be used to sort of tone that down and smooth off the edges just so they can take a breath and be able to, kind of work with what they're feeling. So, outside of that, the main reason that I have empathy on is for situations where I'm out walking in the woods, which fortunately, because of where I live, I have the ability to do that. Because then I'm opening my empathy to nature. I'm opening my empathy to the elements. I'm opening my empathy to the natural world and all the creatures of it. And that is very soothing. It's very comforting. You can, if you have someone in your life and, who is, there and, your spouse, your partner, and during intimate moments, yeah, you can have the empathy on and just appreciate all that that other person is experiencing in a loving, kind, gentle way. So I would say, when you reach that point where you can have the ability to choose, use your choice to decide whether or not empathy is needed. Because it is up to you. It is your choice. And you can be able to explore that. And also, if you shut it down and you need it again, you could always turn it back up. You can always turn it back on. It's not like it's shut down and then it has to stay down for a while or warm up or whatever. You can gauge that and shift that at any point you like. Turn it back on. Oh, something happened that I don't want to engage with. I'm turning it off again. So it can become as easy as a thought. So when do you turn it off? When you don't want it on. When it doesn't serve you to have it on. So I hope that I answered your question. I hope that, somebody wants a cuddle. I hope that you, found value in the answer. If it didn't answer your question, please get a hold of me, contact me, and I will either explain it further or we can talk about more details. As I said, I'm available if you have more of a personal question, more of a private question. And I also do professionally, I do spiritual counseling. So if you would like to arrange for something like that, one-on-one, that can be arranged. And we can do it through FaceTime or by phone. So thank you for joining me. And I will see you tomorrow. And until then, be safe, be well, and always be blessed. I put you down. From my heart to yours. Love you, and see you tomorrow.